Here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about Indiana and their coach of the year. Makes no sense. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Colts and whether or not they're going to move up in the draft, or if they're going to stay firm, or if they're going to move down. Let's do this. Okay, so Indiana looking pretty good for the Big Ten. I personally have shared my opinion about Big Ten tournament. I'm not real worried about if we lose. We lose. I'm not really caring so much about the Big Ten. I'm more worried about the NCAA tournament because you know what? That's what hangs the banners, and that's what really everybody's going to remember. Nobody's going to remember 10 years down the road who won the Big Ten tournament. 5 years down the road, most likely nobody's going to remember that. It's nice if we do. It is going to make a difference in our drive through the tourney. So whether we win the Big Ten or not, we're still going to be seed in 4. So we're going to get 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, and that's the one that matters. But to the point, they made Northwestern's head coach of the year. And I'm trying to figure this one out. I'm a huge Indiana fan, not much of a Purdue fan, but that's just because of the way I was raised, and I love IU, so it is what it is. But I mean, Matt Painter's done a crazy, tremendous, good job with the teams he always puts together. And this team that he put together this year was steamrolling everybody for most season. They still win the Big Ten. I mean, come on. How are you not going to give him Coach of the Year? Since he's been the coach of Purdue, he has put together some great teams. And I'm not quite understanding how that's even a conversation of him not making the head coach of the year with the season they had, and with his entire team, for the most part, either went pro or graduated. They're no longer at Purdue. But yet he still wins 15 games and number 1 the Big Ten. I mean, come on. I want to know in whose mind that works out. I mean, if you guys have an opinion about this, please share it, because I'm not quite understanding this at all. And like I said, I'm not a Purdue fan. I'm not a Northwestern fan either. But I really don't understand the concept. And for anybody to think anything different is this, I don't get it. I would love to say Mike Whitson was, but in all reality, we have a good team. He's a good coach. He's an excellent coach. But for what Matt Painter had to work with and what he's done with the team overall is just insane. Nobody expected Purdue to do as well as they did this year. They lost everybody. Anyhow, moving on. The Colts. So the Colts, I mean, there's been talk they're going to move up to number 1 and take CJ Stroud. I don't think they're going to. There's also talk about a couple other teams might be moving up to number 1 and taking him. You know what? I don't think that the way everybody's talking, Bryce Young's going to be number 1 chosen quarterback in the NFL draft. And maybe the Colts just want to move up to number 2. Number 1's going to cost us 3 picks, including our first rounder next year. So what would number 2 cost us? That's my question. And maybe that's something we need to discuss. Maybe moving up to number 2 and picking CJ Stroud, because that really looks like that's what's going to happen. It's just CJ Stroud just put on a great combine, and everybody's talking about him because of it. And including the Colts, have made comments saying the combine is not how they choose their candidate. They watch the combine, they see how they act and react to mostly media, from the way I understand it. See how they react under pressure with the media, because as the Colts say, they're throwing with dead air. So, for other words, there's nobody actually coming after him. There's no offense or defensive line trying to get to him to sack him. There's nobody standing in front of him blocking. He's got a clear view to everything. And, a lot of good coaches are saying if you're throwing to a receiver, then they should catch most of them because you're just throwing to a receiver. However, he did put the ball where it needed to be. Now, can he do that underneath stress? That's something they say they want to look back on the film. All the film that he's has in his career is what they're looking at, and that's how they're making their decisions. They're also making decisions according to the interviews they're doing at the combine, as well as the questions and stuff the media is actually asking them, and how they're reacting to the media, and kind of putting them on the hot seat. So, if CJ Stroud's number one, is it really going to be number one? Is it really because Bryce Young didn't throw at the combine? If that's the only reason, that's a stupid reason. Because from what I understand it, Bryce Young has scored really well with the questions and everything. The only thing that Bryce Young did not do was that being active in the combine, throwing the ball. So, but everything else, he's aced. From the way I understand it, as far as the questioning with the coaches and stuff like that. They ask, one of the main things they ask is, here's X's and here's O's, what would you do in this situation? And they ask them to break down the defense and tell them where they're going to throw in that defense setup. And, they ask them number one, number two, number three receiver. They have broad questions, basically trying to get the mindset of that player behind the offensive line to see what he's going to do because of what he's looking at. And he's supposed to be throwing on, what was it? It's NFL night at Alabama. I'm not real sure. But he's supposed to be throwing. It's just not at the combine. So I think everybody needs to relax. And everybody's saying that, he's not going to be the number one pick. Needs to wait to see what he does. So, he has a night for him. It's going to happen. It's just not happening at the combine. So I'm wondering if we should just move up to number two. If we give away our fourth and maybe our second round, whatever pick that is, I don't even remember what pick that is we have. Maybe we give up 2 picks instead of 4. Because the way it looks, they're wanting 3 of our picks plus our number 1 for next year to move up to number 1. I think personally that might be something we need to look at. Because if we don't get CJ Stroud in the first round and he goes first, then that means that Bryce Young's going to go second. And honestly, is he not good enough to be a number 2 if he is a number 2? Because I thought he was going to be the number 1. Well, anyhow, however this goes, we cannot stay put. We cannot go down. We cannot stay strong at where we're at. And we cannot move down the list. Because in all reality, I guess after all the news media and all the questioning and everything coaches did, we really have a top 2 candidates. And then everybody else is just, I ain't going to call them mediocre. They're just not as good. And honestly, the quarterback candidates we have this year are not a Peyton Manning. It's not, a Patrick Mahomes. It's not none of those. They're not that good. Will they be good like that? Maybe. But they're stepping in already, not playing as well as they did when they came into the NFL. So why would you want to settle lower? So I think maybe we look at moving up to number 2 if we don't move up to number 1. But we do not need to be coming down to number 6, and we do not need to be sitting still at number 4. Yeah, I understand the picks. We need them, and it'd be nice to keep them, but we need that quarterback. And so I hope we move up. We don't have to take number one. If we don't take number one, we don't take number one. But you're talking about the top two. I mean, really, you're looking at whoever moves up to number one, which is going to happen. Somebody's going to try to get that number one pick. They're going to do some trading. Whoever takes that number one pick, whether it be Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, that next quarterback is equal to or better than the first one. I mean, they're too close of talent right there between number one and number two to make that much of a difference. All you're banking on is the height of the quarterback. But yeah, it's my thoughts. And if you think it's something different, or if you think that I'm wrong, leave a comment. I will respond. But until next time, before I forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell. I'm trying to figure out the whole live thing. I've went live a couple times. It just didn't work out, but it's going to happen. I keep on saying that. But definitely like and subscribe, please. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you're not liked, please like. If you did not like something that I'm posting right this very second, which you may not, please scroll down and find something you might like. I have plenty of things down there, and there's plenty of scripts you can laugh and joke and point and poke at, and leave whatever comment you like. But until next time, I'll catch you guys on the flip side.